Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. And in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Wednesday, March the 2nd. We do have a bigger slate today. We have an 8-gamer. As always, guys, we're going to talk through each one of today's 8 games, break down each team, give my early thoughts, what I see, taking a first look at the slate on Tuesday night. And as we do go through each game, we will bid out an early core. We'll talk about 5 players that do specifically stand out to me on DraftKings and on Yahoo, at first look. But as always, if you guys enjoy these videos, appreciate all your support as always. Make sure to hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button as well if you have not yet. We are on the road to 25,000 subscribers. Hopefully, we'll hit that milestone within, maybe the next month or two. Would appreciate it if you guys would subscribe. And also, check out the sponsor of this video, PrizePicks. So, if you are new here and you have not checked out PrizePicks yet, they are a player prop-based DFS site, so it is very simple. You're just picking the over or the under on a player's projection. They do already have some stuff posted for Wednesday's games. You can take a look at their board, see the projections that they have available. They have different categories: points, assists, rebounds, points, rebounds, assists added up together. They have 3-pointers made. They have fantasy point projections too. They usually will get those posted early in the morning. So if you guys want to check out the PrizePicks board, make some picks for yourself, you can win up to 10 extra money over there. Just make sure to sign up and use code NOAH, so that way you get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. But let's take a look at Wednesday's 8-game slate. We're going to start off with the Charlotte and Cleveland game. So looking at Charlotte today, not the best spot here going up against Cleveland. Cleveland has been a pretty good defensive team this season. They do play really slow. But we know Charlotte, they run their starters, pretty big minutes, mainly, their main guys. So LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, Miles Bridges, these guys are going to play, 36 to 40 minutes if it's a close game. Now, do any of them stand out as like priority plays today? I don't think so. But LaMelo Ball always offers big time upside. He can put up a big game any night. On a bigger slate like this, he should be pretty low owned. So, LaMelo in tournaments as a low owned option, I don't hate. Rozier at 7.9, I'm probably off of. I think he's a little bit too expensive for my liking. Miles Bridges at 7.6, probably the same thing. If I had to play anyone on Charlotte, LaMelo would be the guy I'd be going to. Montrezl Harrell, PJ Washington, Mason Plumlee, like the bigs, I'm not really interested in. Harrell and Plumlee have basically been splitting the center minutes. It seems like Harrell kind of has the upper hand right now. But if, almost 6K, I'm not super high on Montrezl Harrell. PJ Washington continues to start. He'll play around 30 minutes, I think at 5.2. Another guy that's like priced where he should be, if not a little bit overpriced, especially for a tougher matchup. So in general, not too much stands out from Charlotte. Really, LaMelo's the guy that I'd be most interested in here. Even him, like he's a low-owned tournament option. On the Cleveland side, though, so Cleveland, they're getting a really good spot here. Charlotte has been playing at a really fast pace this season. Defensively, they have kind of improved. They were a really bad defensive team at the beginning of the year. They have improved defensively lately, but still they do play really fast. It's a big-time pace-up spot for Cleveland. So, we'll have to watch some injury news here. So right now, we still know that Karis LeVert's out, Rajon Rondo's out. Darius Garland has been out the last few games, but he's questionable, so he can maybe come back today. We don't really know. This is pretty important news because if Darius Garland does return, at 7,700, I think he would be underpriced here, especially for a good matchup against Charlotte. Without Karis LeVert, there would definitely be more opportunity for Darius Garland. Garland, before LeVert arrived, like Garland was a 8K, 9K player. I mean, he was putting up 45, 50 fantasy points a night. I think LeVert coming to the team has kind of hurt Garland a little bit. His usage has gone down a little bit. But definitely with LeVert out today, I would like Garland quite a bit if he plays. And if he doesn't play, we could look to Brandon Goodwin. Now, Brandon Goodwin's prices come all the way up to 6K. So I don't think Brandon Goodwin would be like nearly as good of a play as he was last slate when he was 5,200. But his role has been really good without LeVert, without Rondo, and if Garland were to sit too. He's been playing big minutes. He's been really productive. He'd be playable at 6K, but I wouldn't have nearly as much interest in him as I did last slate when he was a lot cheaper. And then, Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, I don't hate going to these guys. Jared Allen's usually the one I prefer between the two. It is a really, really good matchup against Charlotte, and Jared Allen has dominated so far this year against the Hornets when they played. They've already played 3 times this season. He's averaged 45 DraftKings points per game against them. Charlotte really struggles to defend bigs. I think they're allowing the most rebounds to centers. I think they're allowing the most fantasy points to centers as well. DVP-wise, it is a really, really good matchup here. So I think Jared Allen as a tournament play definitely makes some sense. Probably my second favorite play on Cleveland behind Garland if Garland plays. And that's really it. I don't see too much else I like here. Markkanen, Kevin Love, I don't think at their price tags I'm super high on them. So I think that's it for this game. We can move on to the next game, Indiana and Orlando. So looking at Indiana today, Indiana, we kind of know who's going to get the minutes here and who's going to get the usage. Lately, Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, they're guys that have been playing really, really big minutes, been producing at really good rates. Halliburton's almost 9K though, and Malcolm Brogdon is expected to come back today. So at Halliburton's price tag, I'm not super high on him. I think he's a little bit overpriced right now. I think you're definitely paying a premium for him. Same could be said for Buddy Hield, who's 7'3". Buddy Hield is going to play big minutes if it's a close game, but at 7,300, like, you're going to need 40 plus DraftKings points from him, 42, 45 DK points from him to be worth his salary. Can he put up 45 DK points today? He absolutely could. I mean, he's playing huge minutes every night, but I don't think there's too much that stands out from Indiana. You have Malcolm Brogdon at 7-1. If Brogdon wasn't limited, I would actually like him quite a bit, but the 2 games he's come back from injury, he's only played 31 and 29 minutes. Not like a strict restriction, but if you're paying, 7-1 for Brogdon, you want him getting 34, 35 minutes, 30 minutes. He could still put up a good game in 30 minutes. I mean, he did it last game against Boston, but I would prefer that Brogdon be able to play 33, 34 minutes. Unless we hear otherwise, I'm guessing he's going to still be limited to around 30 minutes, which just makes him like a secondary option for me. And then like the rest of Indiana, Brissett, Isaiah Jackson, these guys don't stand out at their price tags. I think they're a little bit overpriced right now. Jalen Smith did play really well last game. He did start last game, but I would expect he goes back to the bench now that Brogdon is back. So really no interest in Jalen Smith. So that's it for Indiana. On the Orlando side, Orlando, they're a really frustrating team, man. It seems like anytime I roster anyone on Orlando, they never do well or Orlando gets blown out. These teams did just play pretty recently, actually in their last game. Orlando surprisingly won by 16 somehow. Wendell Carter Jr. played 28 minutes. He was in foul trouble, but he was really productive, had 38 DK points. I mean, almost 8K. Like, I'm not super thrilled about Wendell Carter. Cole Anthony's probable. He's expected to play. I can't get this guy right. When I play Cole Anthony, he's terrible. The nights that I don't play him, that's when he goes off. Like, I think I'm done just playing Cole Anthony. I'm so, tired of rostering this guy and, him killing my lineups. In general, I'm not super high on really anyone on Orlando. There's upside for Wendell Carter and Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs. Like, if the game stays close, they should play relatively big minutes. But Orlando's a team I don't really want to be going too heavy on an 8-game slate when there are other teams we can target. Especially there's some other teams that are shorthanded. So not really thrilled about Orlando. I think we can go ahead and move on to the next game, the Knicks and the Sixers. So the Knicks today, another team that I don't see too much I like here. Julius Randle at 9,400. Always is a guy that offers big-time upside. He can put up big games any night. He should play big minutes if this game stays close. We saw Julius Randle play really, really well for 2 weeks straight. The last 2 games have not been that good for Julius Randle. 33 DK points, 39 DK points. Has had some tougher matchups, though, against Miami, against this same Philly team. They're playing Philly today, so I don't think it's the greatest spot for Julius Randle. This game in general is probably going to be played at a really slow pace. I don't think this game is going to be super high scoring. But Julius Randle can always put up a big game any night. He's, again, going to play big minutes. He's more of a contrarian option for me, but viable on this slate. RJ Barrett has shown some big upside lately. He had a really big game in a tough matchup against Miami. Did really well last game in the same spot against Philly. RJ Barrett's going to play huge minutes if it's a close game. But 7,500, I think he's priced where he should be. The rest of the Knicks, Evan Fournier, Alec Burks, I don't really want to be going to these guys. Mitchell Robinson got in foul trouble last game going up against Embiid. It wouldn't be surprising to see Mitchell Robinson get in foul trouble again. So not too much I like from the Knicks. If I'm going to anyone here, it's going to be Randle and Barrett. And then on the other side with Philly, so Philly is a team, I think right now it's just Harden and Embiid. Those are the only guys I'm interested in. I'm not really looking to Tobias Harris or Tyrese Maxey. I think those 2 guys, have definitely, at least they have taken a hit, and I think they will continue to take a hit with Harden on the team. I mean, Tobias Harris the last few games has just been really, really bad since the arrival of Harden. 18 and 23 DraftKings points. Maxey did have a pretty good game last game. He's actually been playing pretty well last 2 games, even with Harden in the mix, but at 6,600, Maxey doesn't stand out to me. Embiid and Harden, I think, are both playable, but, they're going to take away each other's usage, I should say. They're going to, soak into each other's usage. Embiid's, he's still going to play big minutes. He still offers big-time upside. He did just put up over 60 DraftKings points when these teams played on Sunday. Could Embiid go off again? I think it's totally possible, but at 11.6, I'm not super high on Embiid. At 11.2, I'm not super high on Harden either. I know he put up a massive triple-double, had 80 DraftKings points. We know Harden has big-time upside. Honestly, I think between Harden or Embiid, it's tough. Harden has been really productive in his 2 games with the Sixers. He's been way more productive than I thought he would. Does this continue? I don't really know, but Harden is getting plenty of opportunity. He kind of looks like his old self. He's stuffing the stat sheet. He's doing everything, scoring, getting rebounds, getting assists. I mean, at 11-2, I think Harden's not like a standout play today, but at least viable. He's probably my favorite play from the Sixers, and then it would be Embiid. And then after Harden and Embiid, I don't think I'm looking to anyone else here. So we can move on to the next game, Utah and Houston. So Utah, really good spot here for the Jazz going up against the Rockets. Obviously, there is blowout risk in this game. Anytime you're facing Houston, there's going to be some blowout risk. If this game can stay close, though, I would not be surprised to see Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, like one of these guys have a really big game just because Houston, they're so bad defensively. They play at the fastest pace in the league. I mean, Donovan Mitchell, if this game can stay close, can put up 50-plus DraftKings points here pretty easily. Now, does Donovan Mitchell stand out as like a top play today? I don't think so. But he's someone that I probably would want some exposure to if I was playing multiple lineups. I only play one lineup in NBA. I don't think in my one lineup today I'll be getting to Donovan Mitchell. Obviously, I haven't even built lineups yet, but I think Mitchell's viable. Tough to get there, though, like if I'm playing one lineup. Rudy Gobert is kind of the same thing. Like at 7-8, I think Rudy Gobert does offer plenty of upside at this price tag. His price tag has come down a lot since, basically since he's come back from injury. His minutes have been somewhat limited since he's come back from injury, but I think here we should expect him to play full minutes. He got 34 against Dallas. He got 29 last game against Phoenix. Probably plays like 30 to 32 minutes here. Gobert has been really productive this year. It's obviously a really good matchup against Houston. So Gobert, I think, is in play. The rest of Utah, Conley, Bogdanovich, Clarkson, none of these guys ever looked that appealing when the team is fully healthy. So I'm really just focused on the top two guys from Utah, and that is Mitchell and Gobert. And then with the other side of this game, looking at Houston, so kind of big news right now with Kevin Porter Jr. currently questionable. Kevin Porter Jr. was questionable on Tuesday, ultimately did not play. This is a back-to-back for Houston. With Kevin Porter Jr. out, we did see Dennis Schroeder start at point guard once again. Now, Dennis Schroeder was not that good in Tuesday's game against the Clippers. They got blown out. He only played 31 minutes. It's kind of crazy that Schroeder played 31 minutes without playing in the fourth quarter. Like Schroeder, he was on pace to play close to 40 minutes had the game stayed close. Schroeder has been getting huge minutes in these games without Kevin Porter Jr. These last two games have been without Kevin Porter Jr. I think this game against Phoenix, he was also out, and Schroeder played 39 minutes in that game. So, like, if this game stays close and KPJ's out again, we probably see Schroeder play 35 to 40 minutes, and he's been productive so far with the Rockets. He's been a fantasy point-per-minute player. I would like Schroeder quite a bit today if Kevin Porter Jr. is out. If Kevin Porter Jr. plays, then I don't see much here. It's a really tough spot for Christian Wood going up against Gobert. I don't think I'm going to go there. Kevin Porter Jr., if he plays, is viable. Don't love the matchup against Utah. Utah's defense has typically been good. So far this season, they haven't been as good as they have been in previous years, but still don't think this is a spot where I want to be rostering a ton of Rockets. My interest in Houston is just all going to depend on if KPJ plays or not. If he plays, probably just going to fade this team. If he's out, then I would definitely be looking to Dennis Schroeder. But that's it for this game. Moving on to the next game, Miami and Milwaukee. So this should be a really good game to watch. DFS purposes, maybe it's not expected to be the most high-scoring game, but you got two really good teams going up against each other. On the Miami side, I definitely like Jimmy Butler today. I was pretty high on Jimmy Butler last slate with Kyle Lowry out, and Kyle Lowry is out once again. So we should see Jimmy Butler start at point guard. He did play relatively good minutes before the game wound up being a blowout. Jimmy Butler played 29 minutes without playing in the fourth quarter last game against Chicago. Was productive, though. Did have 36 DraftKings points without playing in the fourth quarter. Obviously, against Milwaukee here, this game should stay close. I don't know what the spread is right now. Milwaukee's favored by 4.5. So, 4.5 point spread. You would expect this game to stay close. We should get big minutes from Jimmy Butler. So far this season in games that have stayed close, he's played 35, 36 minutes. It's a big time game against a Eastern Conference opponent. So I think we'll get big minutes from Jimmy Butler at 9,200. He feels a little bit expensive right now, especially when you look at the game log. His game log is not the best. You look at his last 5, 6, 7 games. He's failed to eclipse 50 DraftKings points in what is 6 straight games. This could definitely be a spot where we finally see Jimmy Butler break out. I like, Lowry being out, I think is really good for Butler. He has the ball in his hands more. His usage goes up. His assists go way up without Lowry. Definitely think Jimmy Butler is a really strong play today. He is someone I do like at first look. And on Yahoo at small forward, $38. Right now, he's one of my favorite small forward plays on Yahoo, if we can fit him in. And there's a decent amount of value right now that we'll talk about, later in some of these other games. So it's pretty easy to get to at least one or two studs on this slate. Definitely like Jimmy Butler as a pay-up option. I think Bam Adebayo is fine too. Bam has been really, really good lately. Obviously, last game didn't play his full minutes because of the blowout, but games before that, 59 against San Antonio, 53 against the Knicks. Don't love this matchup against Milwaukee, but I think Bam, they're going to want him out there to guard Giannis. He's been pretty good defensively against Giannis. Throughout the times that these teams have played, he's kind of been the primary defender on Giannis. So definitely think we get big minutes from Bam. At 8,700, he's playable. I would rather go to Jimmy, but I think Bam is fine. And then Hero should continue to play good minutes off the bench while Lowry's out. Played 30 minutes last game. Probably plays 30 to 32 minutes again. 6,500, I have no issues going back to Hero today. He should be fairly low owned, just because his price tag's starting to come up and it's a bigger slate with more options than we've had in these previous slates. Then the value play that I want to talk about is Gabe Vincent. So we've actually seen Gabe Vincent start started last game without Kyle Lowry, and he played really good minutes, and he played pretty well too. He played 33 minutes and had 29 Draftkings points, 20 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. Now, Gabe Vincent has never been a super productive player. He's not a guy that's going to put up 30 plus Draftkings points regularly. But I think at 4,200, expecting him to play around 32 minutes, he's still going to project pretty well at this salary. He is someone that I do like for value kind of at first look. I think Gabe Vincent definitely stands out as a good cheap play. I'm expecting him to start once again. He's fairly cheap on Yahoo as well, so if you do want to play Gabe Vincent over there, I think at $13 at the point guard position, he is a guy that I do have circled as a value play today, with Lowry out once again. But that's really it from Miami. Don't think I'm going to anyone else here. So other side of this game with Milwaukee, Milwaukee, they're not a team I'm super thrilled about today. When they're fully healthy, it's usually just Giannis that I have interest in. I think Giannis is playable today, but this is a really tough spot against a very good Miami defense. Miami, in the past, Bam Adebayo has been able to do well defensively against Giannis. Giannis did struggle earlier this year. He actually has struggled a lot so far this year against Miami. They played twice. He's only put up 34 DK points through 2 games for what that's worth. I don't think that's really super important, but worth noting that so far when they've played Miami, he has not done super well. And in the past, I don't think Giannis has been that great against Miami. Miami's a good defensive team. They know how to double team, to draw up good defensive assignments. Obviously, Spoelstra's a really good coach. Bam's a really good defender. They're just a good team, man. I think Miami is definitely a favorite to win the title this year. So I don't love the spot for Giannis, but it is a big-time game. It's a game that you expect to stay close, so Giannis should play his full minutes. Giannis can always go for 70 in these type of games, but I don't think Giannis is going to be someone I prioritize today. The rest of Milwaukee, like Drew and Middleton and Portis, none of these guys really stand out in a tough spot against the Heat. So that's kind of it for this game. We can move on to the next game, Sacramento and New Orleans. So this is a really good DFS game to target. 2 pretty fast-paced teams, 2 teams that don't really play any defense. I think right now this game does have one of the highest totals, if not, it actually has the highest total on the slate, 235 implied total in this game, 4.5 point spread as well. So this is a game that expects to stay close too. I think on the Sacramento side, definitely at the top, Domantas Sabonis, De'Aaron Fox are both pretty solid options here. Sabonis, if this game's close, is going to play pretty big minutes. Last 2 games, he has been limited due to foul trouble. 5 fouls in both of his last 2 games, so that's why he's only played 33 and 31 minutes. But the 2 previous games, 37 and 37 minutes. So if this game stays close, Sabonis is playing 36, 37, 38 minutes. If he can stay out of foul trouble, he should get those minutes. He's been really productive as of late with the Kings. Been kind of looking like his old self. Stuff in the stat sheet, doing everything, scoring, rebounding, getting assists. He's got triple-double upside. At 9,800, I think he's expensive enough to where nobody's going to pay this price tag for Sabonis. I think he will be fairly low owned. So definitely like Sabonis as a tournament option. I think De'Aaron Fox stands out as a really good play in the mid-range at point guard. He's been really good lately. Him and Sabonis have been, they've been looking really good. Fox has been playing big minutes, been really productive. 40-plus minutes now in 3 out of his last 4 games. Again, getting, plenty of assists. He's been scoring a ton, taking a ton of shots. 8,100 in a really good matchup against the Pelicans. I think De'Aaron Fox is another very good play from this Kings team. And then value-wise, there's actually some value to look to from the Kings. So we actually did see last game they started Trey Lyles. I believe he started over Mo Harkless. Mo Harkless had been starting, but they went with Lyles last game. And Lyles did play really well now. He shot the ball incredibly well, 10 for 14. I don't know if we can expect him to shoot 71% from the field again, but he played 31 minutes. Again, he was really productive. He's only 3,300 today. The price tag didn't really go up any. He was stone minimum last slate, and he's only $300 more expensive today. Assuming that Trey Lyles starts again, I think at 3,300, he's one of the better value plays kind of at first look. He's a fairly good point per minute player. When Trey Lyles has gotten minutes, whenever he was on Detroit, when he was on San Antonio a couple years back. Like, he's been productive when given opportunity. I think at 3,300, he is someone that I will be looking to as a value option on this slate. He's cheap on Yahoo as well, so if you want to play him over there, only $11 at power forward. I like Trey Lyles quite a bit for value if he starts again. And that's probably it from Sacramento. Guys like Harrison Barnes, Jeremy Lamb, Justin Holiday, I'm not looking to these guys. I think it's just the top two options here, Sabonis, Fox, and then Trey Lyles for value I do like quite a bit. Other side of this game with the Pelicans. So the Pelicans, at the top, CJ McCollum at 9K. I mean, his role has been really, really good with the Pelicans. He's been playing big minutes. He's been, stuffing the stat sheet, been doing everything. Been scoring a ton, getting rebounds, getting assists. He's basically been like their primary point guard. They've been staggering his minutes with Brandon Ingram. So, like, CJ McCollum basically will sub out kind of early in the first quarter. And then when Brandon Ingram has to sub out in the first quarter, they'll bring McCollum back in. So McCollum's been getting a lot of minutes where he's like the primary guy, just getting all the usage. He'll get minutes without Brandon Ingram on the floor. He's been really productive with the Pelicans. His role has been really good. His usage has been really high. It's obviously a great matchup against the Kings, a team that plays no defense. So I think CJ McCollum, even at 9K, is a pretty solid option today. He's probably my favorite play from the Pelicans in general. But on other guys you could look to, like JV, I don't hate. Really good matchup for him against Sabonis. Sabonis has never been a great defender. I want to say that in the past, like JV has done really well against Sabonis just in the past. 8K, I don't think anyone plays J-Val today, so definitely think J-Val's in play. I think Brandon Ingram is a fine option too. And even Jackson Hayes. Like, Jackson Hayes has been starting lately, been playing around 30 minutes. I think if Jackson Hayes starts again, which it seems like he's going to, he should play around 30 minutes. He's been dealing with some foul trouble lately. I know there's been some games where he's gotten in foul trouble. I think some of these games he's been limited by fouls. But if he stays out of foul trouble, I think we get around 30 minutes from Jackson Hayes. Fairly productive player when he does get minutes at 4,900. I kind of have him circled as another value option that we can look to on this slate. So definitely a lot to like in this Kings-Pelicans game. For sure, one of the better DFS games to target on the slate. But two more games to go over. First off, OKC and Denver. Not one that I'm super excited about. I think on OKC, I'm really just looking to SGA here. And I think this game in general, I'm really just looking to the stars. So SGA and Jokic. Like, that's really it for me in this game, I'm not looking to like Trey Mann, Darius Bazley, Isaiah Roby. None of these guys really stand out on this slate. SGA, though, obviously has massive, massive upside, and we've seen the last two games without Josh Giddey, without Lou Dort. Like, SGA has just been going nuts. 60 DraftKings points against Indiana, 67 DraftKings points against Sacramento. He was in foul trouble last game, only played 33 minutes because of the foul trouble, still went nuts and almost had 70 DraftKings points. Like, SGA has just been playing out of his mind lately. The matchup on the road in Denver, big spread here. Denver favored by 13.5. I think this is a game that does offer a lot of blowout risk. I think this is the game that has the most likely chance of blowing out. Maybe Portland Phoenix has a lot of blowout risk too, but if the game stays close, I mean, it's probably because SGA is going nuts again. So I think SGA in tournaments does make plenty of sense. Even at 10K, his role without Giddey and without Dort is just going to be so, so good. And then on the other side, looking at Denver, Jokic I think is always in play. I think it's a great spot for Jokic against the Thunder. Jokic is definitely one of my favorite pay-up options if you can fit him. We know what Jokic is going to do on a nightly basis. We know how he can stuff the stat sheet, offers triple-double upside every night. I mean, you can look at last game. He literally scored 8 points. Jokic scored 8 points last game, and he still scored almost 50 DraftKings points because he got 18 rebounds. He got 11 assists. Like, he just does everything when he's on the floor. I think Jokic is a really good play here in a matchup that he should absolutely crush in. OKC is going to have no answer for Jokic. So, really, really like Jokic. Rest of Denver, Aaron Gordon, Will Barton. Like, I just never get excited about these guys. Monte Morris. I'm not looking to anyone else on Denver outside of Jokic. So that's it for this game. Last game of the night, Portland and Phoenix. Another game that offers a little bit of blowout risk. We'll definitely, there's definitely some question marks here just because if this game does blow out, we've seen so many times a lot of these star players get, their minutes cut. They don't really hit value. But, man, if the game can stay close, like Anthony Simons, his role is just so good for Portland right now. He's just playing so many minutes every night. The only issue is that, again, like blowout. I mean, they've got blown out back-to-back nights, and you've seen Simons do really bad. The games that have stayed close, though, 50, 47, 46. Like, if this game stays close, I think Simons is probably one of the reasons why he's going to play 35, 36 minutes if it's a close game. Don't love the matchup against Phoenix, a really good defensive team, but I definitely think Anthony Simons as a low-owned tournament play makes sense. I think Josh Hart, same thing. If this game's close, Josh Hart should play 36, 37 minutes. You've seen in close games, 41 DK points, 50 DK points. Like, Josh Hart has been really productive when he gets his full minutes. If the game blows out, obviously Hart's going to disappoint. But if you think the game stays close, I think it makes some sense to go to some of these Portland guys, Simons, Hart. Even Drew Eubanks, I don't hate. I think Drew Eubanks would probably still play in a blowout. I'm pretty sure he did get minutes last game, even in a blowout. I think he was out there in the fourth quarter. So, yeah, definitely think Drew Eubanks is in play. He's been starting at center, filling in for Nurkic. They did sign Trenton Watford to a contract, but like Trenton Watford, he's basically just been backing up Eubanks. So I think you'll probably see this center minute split between these two guys. I think Eubanks kind of has the upper hand right now. Again, don't love the matchup against Phoenix, but 4,300. If Eubanks plays 24, 25 minutes, he's a decent point per minute player. At 4,300, he is another guy that I kind of have circled as a value option today. And that's probably it from Portland. I know Justice Winslow's out again. We did see Keon Johnson start last game in place of Justice Winslow, but he really didn't do anything. He played 26 minutes and only had 14 DraftKings points. So even if Keon Johnson starts again, I'm probably not going to go there. I think we can go ahead and move on to the other side of this game with Phoenix. Now, Phoenix is a team that I definitely like today. Devin Booker at the top, I think, is a really, really good pay-up option here. I mean, Booker has so much upside right now. He's another guy that just has a massive role, is playing huge minutes every night. I mean, you look at these games that have been close. All their games lately have been close, and you've been getting 40, 37, 38, 43 minutes, 36 minutes from Devin Booker. Without Chris Paul, we know Booker's going to have the ball in his hands plenty. His usage is way up. He's been taking a ton of shots, been really productive. Portland, really good matchup. Portland plays no defense at all. 9,700 for Booker. Even at this price tag, I still think Devin Booker is a really good pay-up option today. I like him quite a bit, and I think he goes overlooked on the slate. 8 games, plenty of options. His price has come up. I don't think a ton of people are going to play Devin Booker today, so I definitely like Devin Booker at first look. And then the other guy I want to mention that I do like a lot is Cameron Payne. So Cameron Payne actually is probable. He is expected to finally return. Payne has been out for a while now, for over a month with a wrist injury. But a wrist injury, anytime a guy's out for like over a month, there's always potential that they're limited in their first game back. But wrist injuries are something that, normally are not going to limit you too much. Like a lot of times when guys come back from leg injuries, calf, Achilles, ankle, whatever it may be, they're usually limited because leg injuries are something you don't want to push. A wrist injury, that's something that I think guys can really play through. So I'm expecting Cameron Payne to play his normal minutes. They've already said that he's expected to start. They're going to move Cameron Johnson back to the bench, and they're going to start Cameron Payne. So if Cameron Payne starts and is not limited, at 4,300 without Chris Paul, he's probably the best value play on the slate. I think Cameron Payne definitely stands out as a top option today. He's very cheap on Yahoo. I like him a ton over there. He's by far one of my favorite plays at first look. I think Booker and Payne are both really good options here. The rest of Phoenix, the secondary guys like Bridges and Cam Johnson and Jay Crowder, especially now that Payne is returning, that's just another guy that can, take minutes away from all these other guys. So I'm not super high on anyone else on Phoenix. Ayton against, a Nurkic-less Portland team going up against Drew Eubanks and Trenton Watford. I could see Ayton having a big game here. He's not been super productive this season. He's not been nearly as good as he was last year. His minutes also haven't been as high, but I will say that as of late, the minutes have kind of been trending up. 30 against OKC, 32 against the Pelicans, 34 last game against Utah. If Ayton does play 34, 35 minutes here, he could definitely crush against this Portland team that should be really bad defensively against big men without Nurkic. So I don't even mind Ayton as a low-owned tournament play, but by far my two favorite plays from Phoenix are Booker and Payne, and I think Payne, if he starts and is not limited, is probably the best value play on the slate, at least at first look. But that's it, guys. That's it for these 8 games on Wednesday. I hope you guys did enjoy this breakdown. I do appreciate you watching. If you did enjoy, click that like button down below. Click that subscribe button as well if you have not yet. And also check out the sponsor of the video, PrizePicks. We talked about PrizePicks earlier. If you guys do want to check them out, make sure to sign up and use code NOAH, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. You can take a look at what PrizePicks has to offer, make some picks for Wednesday's games, take a look at their board, see what they have up already. They'll probably add a ton more props up early Wednesday morning, and I will be making my PrizePicks video for Wednesday. I know if you've been watching the PrizePicks videos, they've not been going well. We went 0 for 3 on Tuesday's slate, but I will be making my PrizePicks video. Hopefully, at some point, we're going to turn our luck around. We're going to get some winners on PrizePicks, so definitely check that out. That'll probably go up early Wednesday, early afternoon, probably around 11, 12 Eastern. I will be breaking down some of my favorite plays on PrizePicks today for those of you that do already play over there. But yeah, guys, I appreciate you watching the video. Hope you did enjoy. I wish you the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.